Hello and welcome back to Off Grid Style. I am Nikki, and today we are going to be talking about why people do not prep. What is going on? Obviously, for those of us who do, we see the signs, and that's why we're doing what we do. It's not like we want to spend all our extra money on stuff that we're going to store and never use. We'd much rather spend that money on something that we're going to use, obviously. So, why is it that we're so polarized in those of us who do see what is happening in the world and those of us who don't? Let's look into that. There's actually a lot of different legitimate reasons why not everyone is prepping. So let's find out.
So why is prepping not as common as it should be? In this increasingly unpredictable world that we're living in today, filled with natural disasters, economic uncertainties, and global pandemics, the importance of prepping for emergencies has become of paramount concern to everyone. But even though all the signs are there that we should be getting prepared, many people are just not actively engaging in prepping. In this video, I am going to cover some of the reasons why prepping is not as common as the world says it should be with everything going on. First, let's look at the complacency and the normalcy bias. In regions with a huge history of relative stability for a long time and easy access to resources, people become complacent. They think that nothing's ever going to happen. And I think that's a lot of what's going on now with our Western developed countries. And the normalcy bias is a cognitive bias that leads people to underestimate the possibility of a disaster or crisis. In other words, things have been so good for so long, they doubt that it's going to be as bad as people make it out to seem. Lack of awareness. Because of how many in the mainstream media portray preppers as extremists and conspiracy theorists, that can deter a whole lot of people who might look into prepping as a potential option to make sure that they're ready for a disaster. The main places that people get their information and education from are not discussing the importance of preparedness and the practical steps that you can take, most of which are easy, to be ready for emergencies. And then there is plain old denial of personal vulnerability. Many people live in absolute denial. They do not believe that their own personal vulnerability is a possibility, and they will somehow be exempt from disaster. People who have not directly experienced a disaster of epic proportions, which would be most of the Western civilized countries, they may perceive it as a distant threat, and they just don't see that there's a potential for disasters that can affect anyone anytime. For many, there is a lack of resources. Obviously, prepping can definitely require some upfront money for supplies and equipment, and not just some individuals, many individuals just can't afford it. And people that live in small apartments or urban environments, they just may not have space to store the supplies that they might need. And then, of course, there's the social stigma. Social pressure can cause people to be fearful that they're going to be made fun of or in some way ostracized if they in any way discuss that they might be thinking of prepping. There are stereotypes when it comes to the term prepper and what people normally think of when they think of that word. And unfortunately, that can stop some people from going ahead and prepping because they may be scared that they're going to be associated with an extreme or a fringe group. Overconfidence or over-believing in institutions. Unfortunately, too many people believe that government agencies and organizations are going to give them help and assistance in times of crisis. And that can lead to complacency regarding needing to get prepared themselves. Procrastination and apathy. Some people just suck at time management and they understand that it is important that they prep, but they just procrastinate when it comes to actually doing it. And some people just think, you know what, there's nothing I can do about it. I can't afford to prep, so I'm not going to stress about it. And that is a sign of apathy or resignation about the inevitability of disasters. And that can actually stop proactive prepping efforts. And a lot of people lack the understanding of specific threats. People tend to focus on the things that are around them that are immediate concerns, like work, family, money, personal goals, things like that. And that ends up taking attention away from getting prepped for some less tangible future event that hasn't happened yet. Information overload. So many different people are telling you so many different stories about what is going on in the world and why you should or should not be prepping, that it can be overwhelming and it makes it hard for people to figure out what is actual real information and what isn't. And there is always fear of the unknown. Some people actually have a fear of prepping. They're so afraid of prepping itself, they're afraid it's going to make them more anxious about potential disasters. Hi again. While you're here, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. You know I always love to hear from you. So, a lot of us do think that getting prepared is sensible and it's responsible to make sure that we and our loved ones are obviously taken care of in a very scary world that's getting scarier every day. Some people, for various reasons, have not yet adopted this idea. So, helping people you know, your loved ones, family members, friends, get over these barriers really does require a three-pronged approach, including education, the destigmatization of prepping, and outreach.
Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. I thought it was really, really interesting because I didn't really think about all the different reasons why somebody would choose not to prep. Some more legitimate than others, but still, there are reasons why. What are your thoughts on what happens to you if you ever mention to anybody that you are somebody who believes in preparedness? I'm curious to hear what happens with you and what your comments and thoughts are on the video itself. Please like, comment, subscribe, all the good stuff. Say hello to me. I always love when you do, and I hope you have a great day.